Good morning, traders. This is Shane Scott, the moderator of Newsware's Trade Talk. A Trade Talk, we're providing you with the up-to-the-minute news on the market, along with the facts, themes, and short-term trading ideas for the day ahead. Joining me today is our trading anchor, Bill Olson, who brings over 30 years of institutional trading knowledge to our program. Let's go ahead and get things started with our markets update. U.S. futures are on the rise this morning with S&P futures up 0.44%, Dow futures up 0.5%, and NASDAQ futures up 0.47%. Global stocks are in the middle of what has become the longest run of gains in 17 years as optimism over the economic recovery sweeps across markets. The reflation trade is powering assets tied to economic growth and price pressure, including commodities and cyclical stocks. There's also the fact that investors are basically riding on speculative euphoria across the markets during a time of abundant policy support. With the Texas power system now crippled by freezing temperatures, natural gas futures for March delivery has surged up to 6.3%, and Brent oil is holding near a 13-month high. Copper has climbed to its highest since 2012, while tin continued a dramatic surge. Some analysts are forecasting copper prices will rally to $10,000 a ton in the next 6 to 12 months on a better than expected recovery in demand. The dollar has slipped against most of its peers as haven bids have waned. Over in Europe, markets steadied after a rally on Monday, and over in Asia, the Nikkei 225 stock average extended its advance past the 30,000 level. Bill, what are you seeing as far as market updates?
Just to comment on your copper play, the copper play there is ticker FCX, Frank Charlie X-ray, typically starts to run whenever the economy starts to recover. They're a copper producer, and it's a good stock to watch. But I've been watching the S&Ps all morning long. They were actually up 1% earlier this morning. They have since pulled back. You're seeing them up a 0.5%, so they've given up some of the gains. You had this really bullish move in Asia, which was a nice catalyst overnight, but it didn't really help to push the European indices up much. They're saying that their catalyst was because of the rollout of the coronavirus vaccines and, of course, the pending stimulus bill, which is a net positive for all markets. And of course, that cold snap in Texas. I mean, it's a pretty bad deal, and that's why you're seeing crude oil, trading at elevated levels these days.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's go ahead and move into earnings to watch today. Bill, what type of earnings are we looking at?
Well, Advanced Auto Parts came out this morning, ticker AAP. They missed by 10 cents, but on higher revenue. After the release, the stock ran up to almost 157. It now has since pulled back and it's up by 0.12, but it's one to watch today. AutoNation, ticker AN, they delivered a 42-cent beat on positive revenue. That stock's up 1.67% this morning. Ticker Charlie Edward Victor Apple, they delivered a 9-cent beat on positive revenue. Seeing that stock move 5.2% this morning. And Palantir, ticker PLTR, they missed by 10 cents on good revenue, but the stock's off by 11% this morning.
How about insights as far as upcoming earning announcements?
There's a number one. Let's start with Occidental Petroleum, ticker OXY. They were set to release today, but I just saw a press release come out that they pulled their announcement due to the storm in Texas. So they are not releasing today. That's ticker OXY. That's not a positive for any company when you push back your earnings release date. Lazy Boy, they're set for a 6.6% move when they release earnings. Groupon, ticker GRPN, they're set for a 16% move when they release their earnings. And Devon Energy, ticker DVN, they're set for an 8% move when they release earnings. Lazy Boy is kind of interesting because on January 28th, the CEO said that their ability to increase production capacity has been constrained in the short term due to greater than anticipated impacts of the COVID-19 virus across their supply chain. This is a very important event about the supply chains. It's going to be getting a lot of attentions over the next year.
Well, let's go ahead and move into economic reports. Bill, what type of reports are we seeing today?
Oh, the Empire State Manufacturing Index is about to come out at 8:30 a.m. You got some Fed speak where San Francisco Fed Bank President Mary Daly will be speaking today at 3 p.m. And one interesting note that I read this weekend was that the Biden administration is really concerned about Americans' competitiveness around the globe. President Biden is essentially preparing to issue an executive order and shoring up vital supply chains, including in industries such as the semiconductors, crucial minerals, uh, medical supplies, and battery technology. That step will direct government power and policy towards building up domestic capacity in those areas. This can happen, either through direct government investment or tax incentives for private investment and removal of regulatory barriers. Furthermore, the economic policy and the foreign policy are no longer truly separate. Um, as President Biden named Dalip Singh as the head, was the head of the markets group at the New York Fed, he just named him as Deputy National Security Advisor. So they're taking, economic issues really as a security threat, and I think we're going to be hearing more of this as the year goes on.
Well, moving into our morning's critical insights, starting one off with one on Cycle. This company which has been private, is set to become a public company through a business combination with Peridot Acquisition. That's ticker PDAC. The companies bring a combined equity value of $1.67 billion. Peridot's share price is currently up 14.37% in pre-market. One on AutoNation, ticker AN. AutoNation has announced plans to build over 100 AutoNation used vehicle stores, with over 50 set to be completed by the end of 2025. That includes 5 this year and 10 next year. AutoNation's share price is up 1.67% in pre-market. In other news, CoStar Group, ticker CSGP, has made an unsolicited competing buyout bid on CoreLogic, ticker CLGX, for $95.76 per share. CoreLogic's share price is up 5.5% in pre-market. One on Plug Power, ticker PLUG, and Acciona, ticker ACXIF. They've just partnered on a 50-50 venture for a green hydrogen platform in Iberia. Plug share price is up 3.2% in pre-market. Baby Monitor Outlet is rumored to go public through SPAC Sandbridge Acquisition. That's ticker SBG. The companies would have a combined value of $1.1 billion. Another rumor, Origin Materials is said to be in talks to go public through Ardius Acquisition. That's ticker ACCQ. In other news, France has fined Google, ticker GOOG, specifically Google Ireland and Google France, 1.1 million euros after an investigation by the Directorate General for Competition, Consumption, and Repression of Fraud showed results of an investigation that demonstrated the misleading nature of the ranking of hotels by Google, in particular on its search engine. In other news, Kroger, ticker KR, has partnered with Goss to provide smartphone-enabled COVID-19 home tests that can be fully performed using only a smartphone and a lateral flow assay without involving any laboratory, telemedicine visit, or any specialized electronics. The test is currently awaiting FDA emergency use authorization. Kroger share price is up 0.91% in pre-market. Just a comment on this one, I don't know if this is going to take off. However, I would keep my eyes on it, because when we do see the FDA approval for it, I imagine it will take off then. So want to keep our eyes open for. What are you seeing as far as news this morning, Bill?
Well, Shane, I break my news alerts down into specific events and specific sectors. That way, when they hit, I know that I have to look at it and I have to quickly read it to ascertain whether this is going to be a market moving event where I can achieve some opportunity out of these breaking news stories. My FANG alert goes off almost every day. Apple, same thing. The story is the same. They're having discussions with various automakers, and it continues to make headlines. It's simply a dating game right now, but no formal deal has been announced. Everyone knows it makes sense. It's going to happen. We'll see who the actual suitor is, but this stance may continue for a while. And I caught that Google France fine as well over the hotel rankings. That's not a huge issue, but it is a $1.1 million fine for Google. My Dow Jones 30 alert was going off this morning. Boeing, there's a suit claiming that Boeing's board did not act fast enough on the safety concerns, and that's basically what the CEO said. They didn't. Um, they just rammed it through all of the, you know, paperwork to get that 737 Max in the air, and they did it too fast. You know, something on Goldman. Goldman is set to unveil their Marcus investment tool. This is like really designed for retail investors where they can take, you know, advantage of some of the proprietary algorithms that Goldman Sachs uses. Walmart, you know, they are set to become one of the largest distributors of the COVID-19 vaccine. You got to keep an eye on this, because if you go into Walmart for a shot, you're probably going to pick up eggs and butter, and that's where the additional revenue is going to come from. The airlines went off on Southwest Airlines, ticker LUV, this morning, because they expect capacity in April to rise about 81% from the same time a year ago in 2020. Well, if you remember, a year ago in 2020, all the flights were essentially grounded. So yeah, that should happen. But more importantly, they see their, you know, for the Q1, they see that their average daily cash burn rate is going to be about $15 million as opposed to the previous estimate of 17 million. That's a big deal. I see some buybacks going on. AutoNation, ticker AN, the board authorized a repurchasing of up to an additional $1 billion worth of stock. Ticker NRZ, Nancy Richard Zebra, the board approved common share repurchase program of up to 200 million. My guidance alert, this is interesting. GIS, this is General Mills. They reaffirmed their Q3 2021 guidance after outlining its accelerated growth strategy at a conference. So it's one to watch, ticker GIS. And CVS, the drugstore, Charlie Victor Sam, they see the 2021 adjusted EPS of $7.39 to $7.55. I'm a little concerned here because the consensus is $7.54, so it's not that much higher. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of the estimates come in a bit. But that's what I'm seeing this morning, Shane.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's go ahead and move into our Trade Talk picks for today. I'm going with Peridot Acquisition, ticker PDAC. Life cycle is, you know, as we said, it's be open to a public company through a business combination with Peridot. It's already up 14%, but it's on a small price tag. It's not a very heavy price. We're looking at, it was $13.85 at the close yesterday, and right now in pre-market, and by the way, it's a little bit lower. It's juggling between 12 and 13%. It's $15.65. So there's room to move, sure. And it's interesting. They're a battery recycler. They do lithium ion battery recycling. And the more and more that we push into smartphones and all these other things that we're producing, you know, that's a useful thing. I might watch it at the open. I don't know if I'm going to get in right away. I think this is what I'm going to watch for the first 30 minutes. But I expect that we might see a little bit of a dip and it'll go up towards the end of the day. So this is one I'm looking at to see some gains today. Which is your pick, Bill?
This morning I'm going with ticker EXAX, Edward X-Ray Apple Sam. Again, it's a run into earnings. What I was seeing was some positive option flow on Friday. Earnings are due out this afternoon. The expected move is 10%. But on January 5th, the company came out and they said Q4 revenue is likely to exceed market expectations of 427 million. And I saw one of the investment houses actually commenting that they expect it to even be much better than the 427. So I'm going to be watching ticker EXAX this morning, Edward X-Ray Apple Sam.
Well, moving into our hot off the press, this is the news that's hitting the tape as we speak that will be moving the stocks today. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So, Bill, looking at our newsware alerts and seeing all the headlines that are streaming in, which are the one that we should be letting traders know about?
Let's talk real quick about Marriott, ticker MAR, Michael Apple Richard. Marriott announced earlier, just a few minutes ago, the unexpected passing of Arne Sorensen. He was the president and CEO. So you got to be watching for, you know, shares of MAR to take a dip today. Unless it's trading already at the 52-week low, then it could actually bounce higher. Maybe they didn't like the guy, but I want to really take a closer look at Marriott Hotels, ticker MAR. Capital One, ticker COF, Charlie Oscar Frank. They report January net change write-offs of 2.54%. That's not bad compared to last year where it was 4.31%. I see a note from the St. Louis Fed Bank president James Bullard, and he's talking about Bitcoin, and he characterized it as a rival to gold And he says Bitcoin does not affect the Fed's price, policy, but he does feel it's more like an indicator such as gold. So it's interesting that their Fed is talking about it these days.
One from Power Solutions, ticker PSIX. They just appointed Lance Arnett as CEO.
Here's a news story. CVS Health sees Q1 as the lowest earnings quarter for the year.
One on Apollo Global, ticker APO. They've just closed $2.34 billion in commitment for Apollo Accord Fund.
Graco, ticker GGG, they just announced that Mark Sheehan is going to be the CEO effective June 10. Likely not going to have an impact on the stock price. It's too far out. JD.com, ticker JD, they're going to spin off JD Logistics via separate listing in Hong Kong.
Par Pacific, ticker PARR, just announced a sale leaseback of 22 retail convenience store properties.
Ooh, ticker JE, Just Energy, reports filing delays. That's not good.
Anything else interesting for you, Bill?
No, that's all I'm seeing right now.
Same here. So that'll do it for us as far as what's hot off the press. But traders, keep in mind you can receive these same breaking stories just like us simply by subscribing at newsware.com. Check us out for a free trial today. It will definitely up your trading game. Moving into our scoreboard, talking about how our picks did from Friday. I had Fusion, ticker FUSE. It opened at $12.82, but this was high, and we knew it was. So we said, let's wait till later in the morning, maybe around 10 a.m., and let's see how it's looking then. And if any traders did wait till then, you saw a price drop as low as $11.42, and it hovered around that area for some time, definitely was available around that price. And the stock ultimately traded lower for the day, closing at $11.59. But with the timing that we came in at, it was still around a 1.48% gain. So not bad for us, not great for the stock in total, but if we follow the plan well, it actually worked out pretty well. How'd yours end up doing, Bill?
Well, my pick on Friday was Advanced Auto Parts, ticker AAP. Stock opened up at 154.95, which is a little high. And I really did want to wait because I knew that it was going to open up higher than it should be. But later in the day, it actually moved up to as high as 155.67, which was a nice move higher. And then this morning, hey, they released earnings, and guess what? This stock hit 156.37, essentially beating the $1 goal and approximately matching the 1% move, which is the goal for what we're trying to put out here. So it was a good day.
Nice. Well, that's going to do it for us here at Trade Talk. But traders, you know what to do. Let's get out there. Let's make some green.